There we go. Hey.
Happy New Day. Happy and healthy family and friends. Welcome to another episode of Happy New Day with Ari and Jay.
Yes, number 36.
Oh my.
We're making moves.
Yes.
That's the number 9, baby.
Yes.
What you feeling about that 9?
It's a birthing number. 9 months and birth. And we are onto something. You said that precisely.
Absolutely. Yes. Today is Tuesday.
Yes. What does Tuesday represent?
Tuesday. Oh, Tuesday. In the Bagua, that is the that good Mars energy today.
Mars.
It's the day to get busy, the day to get that work going. Today is the day. If you're not going to do anything else, invoke that good gold, yellow solar plexus energy.
Oh, okay.
And get it going. Yes, get it going, because the fruits of your labor, you'll see the benefits of that by Thursday, which is the payday. So the energy of the earth supports whatever your work is, whatever your toil is, whatever you put off. Make sure you put everything you get, you everything that you have into that today, and it will help. It will propel. It would almost be like for every one step you take, the universe will take 2 behind you to help push that along. So if you want to. Today's the day to make a move. Today's the day to get something done. Today's the day, if you're going to work late, because the energy supports it.
Yes. And it's in your favor.
Yes, it's in your favor. It's in your favor. Yes. And so, wow, you know what? I feel really good today.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, because let's see, what time is it? It's like 9. So I'm like 24, 30, 33 hours. Yeah, 33 hours into my dry fast.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Give it up.
Yeah, I feel like I've shifted in that time. That dry fast. Because normally we do like a liquid fast, 60-hour liquid fast from midnight on Sunday up until noon on Wednesday. But this time, one of my good brothers, Rosini, was doing a dry fast, and then shared with me the benefits of what dry fasting does. And basically, the enhancement in doing a dry fast is for every 1 day that you do a dry fast is equivalent to doing 3 days of a water fast. Yeah, so in essence, my 60 hours of dry fasting is equivalent to 180 hours. And so the benefits, and so it like supercharges the benefits. And so I'm just, I'm always, everything that we talk about, we already did, or we have experience with it. And so now you're seeing it real time, because this is what we do all day, every day. And so, it's something that we had been practicing intermittent fasting on a weekly basis, moved into the liquid fast, extended liquid fast each week to start off our weeks. And now the next level is, moving into doing a dry fast and just seeing what that looks like and how that shows up. And the thing is, I was actually inadvertently doing it anyway, because usually by the second day during the liquid fast, I would have to force myself to drink water. So that's, your body like naturally tells you what it needs and, what you should be doing. And so I've already had an affinity towards it. So I kept saying, oh, dang, I need to drink some water, because I just kept, I get so caught up in whatever I was doing. The one big takeaway from it, though, that I noticed is that you never realize how much time you put into, or how much time we put into eating. or preparing for food.
Yes.
Because it would seem like prior to, like on the other days, it's like, man, I never have enough time. Like, yeah, like, you know, it's like, oh, man, you know, like, oh, then where'd the day go? And now it's like, it seems almost like time is suspended. And, yeah, I got so much done yesterday, and in my meditations and my morning yoga work and then my morning workout. And today, you know, even though I got in a little bit short-sighted with it, it's still, you know, I felt great afterwards, you know, and got my shower and boom, you know, I'm ready to go. But yeah, absolutely, I could feel like I feel more electric. I feel like charged and whatnot. Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Because we pretty much have fasting, intermittent fasting down. Now it's time to integrate other things.
Yes.
So that's very important.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So yeah, big props. Thank you, Rosini, for sharing that information in our group. Yeah, because we're part of a men's group and a men's rite of passage program, and so yeah, that dialogue and you know, iron sharp as iron, you know, much appreciated because yeah, definitely, I look to upgrade to doing this on a regular basis. Yeah, moving forward because it's definitely there's a difference. Yeah, there's a great difference. It's subtle, but I feel the difference though. Yeah. So today, our theme for Tuesdays is Tantra Tuesdays. So we're talking all things Tantra.
Yes.
The good juicy stuff, the things that make everything flow and flow throughout our lives. And so Tantra Tuesday. So today we'll be touching on the basis, Tantra basics. You know, Tantra 101. For the most part, the big part of today is discussing what Tantra is, but more importantly, what Tantra isn't. Yeah, because there's a lot of misconceptions about Tantra. Like, say for instance, when you first heard Tantra, what did you think, or what popped into your mind? I mean, I know that you have more of a enlightened understanding of things, but when you first, or what was introduced to you, what's the first thing that came to mind?
Quick confession, okay? I don't know how everyone thinks of me, but I would say it was in my late 20s. I actually worked at a sex store.
Oh.
Yeah, so they had all the trinkets and stuff, but you know, what's so funny? I know, right? So trinkets, costumes, like all kind of stuff. It's a pretty cool place, but they had a lot of
yeah, I bet it was.
They had a lot of books. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, no, go ahead.
They had a lot of
books. We want to hear
books.
the adventures of Ari in the freak store. At the freak shop.
Well, yes. And it was in Culver City, California, in the art district. So the store didn't last long because it's like, okay, it was kind of taboo to be working there, but I can't even begin to tell you how many offers there were to do stuff. I'm like, okay, I just kind of work here, you know. But anyway, I read the book. I was starting to read a book on Tantra, and I don't know if it was because it was, I'm not familiar if there were like different types of Tantra, but the book that I was reading, it was more of a European take on it, and it went straight to sex and Kama Sutra. So that's what I received from it. You know, seemingly a beautiful practice. I never had gone into it myself. I was just reading the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and checking out customers.
Mm-hmm. 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 Now you see, so you have an enlightened being, well-read in many different areas, and her initial understanding of Tantra was about the sex part of it, or thinking of, and I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people, and I attempt to explain to them what I do, and they're like, "Oh, I know about Tantra. I know. Yeah, I've read the Kama Sutra." And I'm like, no, that the sex. Now, granted, because of Tantra, because of being adept in the tantric arts, it does improve your sexual abilities 1,000-fold, like 10-fold. I mean, when you look at the average sex act or the active sex in the United States in particular, if we're talking about this time, the average time is like from 2 minutes from the time from the time the folks have their clothes on until it's done. The average sexual, act lasts about 2 minutes. Yeah, whereas when you become adept at Tantra, it supercharges, the whole experience. And you're looking at 2 to 4 hours on average, as opposed to 2 minutes. So, and that's just on the physical side. I mean, there's so much more to it, but that's just a drop. So when and the reason being is, when Tantra was brought here to the United States, the European folks, they had a relatively limited understanding of, what it was all about. And so they only took that's like, say, for instance, you're writing a book. So Tantra is the book. And then somebody's talking about the ABCs. So they're not even spelling it. And that's sex when it comes to an entire encyclopedia of information, and somebody stuck at the letter A. And so that's what sex is in Tantra. It's just a piece. It's a benefit of Tantra, but it's pretty much the most minuscule part, other than the fact that it greatly heightens your abilities to do that amongst so many other things. And so what Tantra is not, is not the Kama Sutra. It is not a sex cult. It is not anything on that level. Now, what Tantra does deal with is your sexual energy, your Kundalini energy, sexual energy are intertwined. They start at your base chakra and then moves and works their way on up. But Tantra is not about sex, the active sex itself. It's about sexual energy and transmuting that energy to attain higher levels of enlightenment and to raise your vibration, to connect with the Most High, with the universe, with God. That's what Tantra is about. It's about moving your energy from your root, your base energy, your primal, primitive self, and growing into an enlightened being, to functioning at a high vibration, to functioning at your God-like self, tapping into who we really are. And so Tantra isn't something that you do. No. It's not something that you do. It's something that you activate. Tantra is something that's innate in all of us. It's innate. It's a part of who we are, but it's something that we tap into. It's something that we activate because it lies dormant within us because of society, because it's this information has been suppressed over the years. It was something that was only available to the elite at some part, back in the day. And technically it still is for the most part. It's become more mainstream because the ancient texts and information, that was passed down has been leaked out and then brought, because people were like, well, wow, this shouldn't just be reserved for just a few. This is something that should be available to everybody. And so the number one way that we're suppressed in this society is through sexual suppression, and not necessarily the active sex suppression, but our sexual energy. Because and that's brought on through shame. That's brought on through different types of limiting belief systems. That's brought on by the porn industry per se, the adulteration of sex in general, and making it and bringing it to a level of just a physical experience. And when you look at the numbers of individuals that function in the United States from a sexual standpoint, it's at an all-time low. The sexual approval rate in our country is dismal. Dismal. I believe, what was the last time I looked at it? The stats said I want to say it was over 70%. 60 plus. I know it's over 60% of all women are unfulfilled in their sexual practices and whatnot, and that comes from a lack of or a suppression of sexual energy. And so that comes from diet, that comes from lifestyle, that comes from just the environment itself, that comes from programming that creates those limiting beliefs. And so when we look at Tantra itself, I can attest, Tantra I've learned over the years. I mean, it's over 20 years now. So many different modalities, and by far the number one. If I had to throw away everything else and lock in on one modality, one skill, one thing that I've learned, Tantra, hands down, above and beyond. I talk about game changers. No, Tantra literally saved my life. Saved my life. I can't tell you.
In what way?
Oh my God. Yeah, it saved my life. Yeah, the Grand Trine Tantra lifestyle system created by Master Yao. I tell you that was, oh my God, yeah. I mean, I was at my lowest points in my life. The year before, my mother had poisoned me. When I started to remember the things that happened to me as a child, the things that she had did, because I had suppressed all the memories, and they started to resurface, and I started to remember what had happened to me. And she overheard me sharing the information with my grandfather, and she didn't want it to get out to the rest of the family, and so she poisoned my water. And I literally almost died. I mean, whatever it was that she put in there, it jacked my spine up. I couldn't move. I was jacked up. And I recovered. Obviously, I'm here. I recovered. But then that's when the healing process began, the acceptance, the things that you hear me talk about, the forgiveness, the understanding, the compassion, the just the ugliness. That's technically when my shadow work started, remembering and accepting, what had happened, and then, what was the lesson, and what had happened, to me as a child, even in the, the whole, the poisoning, because at that point, I had options on how to deal with this and how to move things forward. And, then I realized I had to go deep within it. It shut me down to the point where I couldn't do, anything for a while. Yeah, a long while, like about a few months. And so that was the first part. And then from there, I had made some moves, ended up starting the farmer's market over in Compton. And then we had ended up having a issue with the city. We got a contract battle that basically ended up in shutting the market down, which was, very sad. I mean, that hurt my heart dearly. This was the following, this is like 6 months later. And then prior to opening back up for the spring of the following year, that's when the contract fell apart, and we couldn't reach an agreement that made sense for both sides, and the market shut down. And that was like my pet project after, moving into the new space, as far as let me, become more community oriented. And I was devastated after that. And then that's when, because I kind of recovered, and I actually put everything, my energy, into the market and getting that as a way to kind of cope with what was, going on with me personally, and trying to work through the situation with my mother. And so, I was at the bottom of the bottom by this time. Suicidal, experiencing erectile dysfunction. Everything was hit and miss, being that because of me remembering the molestation from my mother, that really did for lack of a better term, like a brain fuck. Like I'm trying to really wrap my mind around what this meant. And it shut me down, and then I always had an affinity towards mature women, older women. And it was like, ooh, like what? Like, ooh, like that's why I and it was just like you feel this shame, or you feel this ugliness, but the thing is, the big part of doing that shadow work is you have to be able to recognize you can't be ashamed of who you are. The only thing that you can do is do better. And so you can't beat yourself up about that. And so that's what I was doing. And so processing that, and, just feeling all these different things, because you're talking about years, probably about 11, 12 years of that, of all these things going on that I had locked away. And now, boom, I'm 42 years old, and now I'm feeling it all. I'm experiencing it all, like it's happening right there in the moment. Yeah. And so, my brain, my emotions, everything was fried. Suicidal, impotent, broke because we lost the contract. Broke is a joke. And I was, and alone. I was on an island, my children around, but I was alone. And and at my wit's end. And that's when I decided to, start looking into some things that could help. And I read that Tantra in particular was phenomenal for sexual trauma. The number one thing, if it doesn't do nothing else, if you can't fix nothing else with Tantra, when we're talking about sexual trauma and healing from that's the number one thing Tantra will do. Mm-hmm.
So how did you find Master Yao? Or how was that alignment situated?
Let's see. It started off with another brother named Shantan Nityama, which was probably, and him and Yao were buddies. Yeah, they pretty much kind of did their thing, hit the scene about the same time in the early 90s, 2000s and whatnot. And Nit was stationed out in California, up in the Glendale area. And so I went to a Tantra retreat. It was like the intro to Tantra type of thing. And that was the real, like, it changed my course of my whole functioning, because that weekend with Nit Yama was, it was awesome. Like, it really changed my whole frame of mind, my way of thinking, it shifted me through, through manhood, like the way I viewed myself as a man in general. And so, and there was another brother there, young brother named Shofar Graves. And Shofar and I were there. Shofar he knew Nit from back in the day. He also knew Master Yao. And so he had went to like some of their joint events back in the day when they were in the Carolinas. And so initially I was going to train with Nit Yama because he's right there in my backyard. But then he got called to the UK, and he started doing some training over, and started doing teachings over there. And shoot, he got over there in Europe, and they was like, lad, he hadn't been back since. So, but anyway, in the midst of that, so far, there's only a handful of brothers in the space, and Shofar was like, yo, man, Ninyama's dope too. And he said, Ninyama's dope, but also Master Yao. He's like, yeah, Master Yao, they came up together, and, if you want to learn, you can kind of get it from both sides and then decide, which one that you prefer and whatnot. And then also the dope part about Master Yao is he was offering the classes online. And so, Shofar Graves, folks show energy. Yeah, that brother's off the chain. So everybody, that's out there on the West Coast, you're looking for a brother that, that you can tap into, that's going to really look out for you. Shofar Graves is down in San Diego. That's my guy. That's my guy. Like my guy. Like we vibe like that since day one. But because a lot of times you find folks in the space, not necessarily just Tantra space, but just our people, black folks in general, they kind of want to hold on to information. I can't stand that. Like it's some big secret. Like if I know this, then you're going to take away something from me. But no. But so far, we're kindred spirits. Just loving, open, just wanting to just give, all that he has. And he was, real forthcoming with the info. Like, and he tapped me into Master Yao, especially after Nit shot over to the UK, and he's into the European oblivion. Anyway, but it was actually the best move because the teachings of Master Yao, like I said, it saved my life. It saved my life. It took me from a substandard state of being, a substandard low vibration, broken, totally torn down state of being, and showed me how to tap in and to become and move into my divine masculine and develop that. It taught me how to identify my shadows and what they would call the counterfeit persona. And that was like a mask. It was a defense mechanism that was put up that, I was operating in, or the pain body collar.
What is that?
The pain body collar, it's a extension of the counterfeit personality. It's that whole thing about living from a state of scarcity, a lack mentality, poverty consciousness, a state of, the world hates me, the world's against me, that shame from the past that suppresses us and holds us back, that prevents us from living in our godlike nature. That pain body collar, that is like the invisible wall that keeps us from expanding and becoming the highest version of ourselves. Yes, and so that pain body collar, you look at all things negative, that negative self-talk, that negative view on life, that view that, there's not enough, there's lack, there's starvation, there's poverty, there's this, there's that. And all those are just states of being. All of those are, when you look at the media, it functions from lack, and it taps into, and it induces that mentality that, and the world, there's 10,000 times more than enough for everybody on this planet. Right. Everything that we have is available, but it all boils down to what our perception is on that. What does that look like? And to adopt an abundance mind state of being, an abundance mindset. Because even though, we might look in our bank account today and it might not represent what it is, the figures in it aren't necessarily reflective of, what it is, our desired amount. But once you come into the understanding, the knowing, the understanding that everything that exists in our external environment is a reflection of what's going on inside of us in our internal environment. And so if you're sitting around, if whatever exists in your life, you're like, man, I don't like that. Then you have to look back and think like, well, okay, I'm creating that. So what do I need to do to change within me to make that external thing change? And so what goes on within us, in our spirit, in our innermost, our subconscious, when you realize that, especially by the time you turn 35, 95% of who we are and function and what we do every day and what we think or what we think we're thinking, we're on autopilot. We're just doing out of habit. And so that belief system that we came up in, that is what really, we become hardwired. So that's why it's like, even when we're learning all this new information, like, yeah, you get all excited. It's almost like going to church. You go to church on Sunday, they got the band going, they got the choir going, and you feeling all lifted up high, and you like, yeah, I'm about to be on my holy square all week long. And then Monday rolls around and your boss says something that pisses you off when you go to work. Somebody cuts you off on the lane. You giving everybody the finger. And then all of whatever that holiness that you had on Sunday, you go right back into the same old thing over and over again. Why? Because you've been hardwired. Your subconscious is what's at the wheel. That's what's driving you. And so those habits, they're hard to really break. Mm-hmm. And because a lot of times we're thinking that, oh yeah, I can consciously think about it, but only 5% of your conscious mind is in control of everything else you're doing after you hit 35. So you're trying to change yourself. And that's the thing. People get into this thing of, I'm not mentally tough enough, and we beat ourselves up about that. Yeah, and we do it all the time. And you're like, dang, how come I can't change? Dude, why do I keep doing the same thing? And then you start feeling this, I don't have enough, this lack mentality sets in. And you have to understand that we're trying to deal with a subconscious issue that's 95% in control with 5% of our consciousness, our active mind, trying to attack 95% of who we are. And that is what the challenge is. That's the reason why those old habits start to set back in so quickly, because it's been ingrained in us. It's who we become. And so when you really want to make a change in your life, it can't just be a mental change. It has to be a spiritual change coupled along with it. Say for instance, 2 years ago was when I really made the jump spiritually. Because I don't know if anybody that's been, friends with me over the years, I've gone through multiple detoxes. I ballooned up and ballooned down. I've dropped down and trim and cut and doing my thing, looking like the Black Zeus, and then boom, I look like Al Bundy or Homer Simpson. 6 months later. And the reason being is all the detoxes I was doing before, and drop the weight, feel great, doing some incredible stuff. Oh my God! I look back on my timeline sometimes, like, damn, I did all that. Yeah, I did all that. But then 6 months later, something of life will happen. You get caught up. Stuck. My biggest thing, or my biggest escapism was work, indulging myself in work, especially if there was any kind of emotional thing going on. My defense mechanism, my go-to, because my counterfeit persona, I had an anal counterfeit persona. We'll go into that at a deeper dive later on, but what counterfeit personalities look like. But I had an anal counterfeit personality, and what that entails is I had my shadows spoke to, I always had to win, number one. Everything, win. Everything was a competition, in relationships and everything I did. Heck, like who can eat this is dumb stuff. But this just went on, and I operated from a position of lack, because it was like I have to win to prove myself. Because I was always told, I was dumb, I was stupid, dumb MF, or my mother called me that so much that. Yeah, I embodied that. Like subconsciously, I believed that. So I was always trying to prove how smart I was, trying to prove how I could be a winner. Because, she had me thinking that I was a loser. And so, and then if I ever felt emotionally attacked or and whatnot, I would indulge myself in work. And so, yeah, so anyway, where did I go with that? Oh, dang, you know what? I just lost my train of thought.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so 35 and beyond, you're on autopilot. 42 is when things start to resurface. There's quite a bit of time in between those two numbers in age. And there were relationships, that you had during those times between 35 and 42. And then your meeting and introduction to Master Yao. How did the concept of man-woman interaction, how did that shift for your thinking, your overstanding?
The first thing that Master Yao teaches, the first thing is that to identify your counterfeit personality.
Okay.
Because that affects how you connect with in relationships, not only to yourself but to others. And so I always had in spite of whatever it was that went on between my mother and I always, I love my mother like no other. And so I always had a positive view on women in general. So, because I grew up with all women. I was the only male on in my generation, and all my cousins were females, and I was the only child, so they were like my sisters and whatnot. And so I've been around women and seeing how they function, how they do. I've seen, there's a big difference between toxic women and women that are evolved and women that are healed and women that function in their divine feminine. And so even without knowing necessarily knowing those concepts, I always separated. I always had this mindset of accepting people for who they are and what they represent in my life. Yeah. Now, how that changed in my relationships. Every woman I've ever been with is represented some aspect of my mother. Yes, including you.
Oh.
Yes. And so, I mean, you represent everything I love about my mama. Everything that I see good in my mother. Everything that, like, just the way that you function and flow from the outside world. That's what everybody viewed as my mother. Everybody loves my mom. Everybody, oh man, all my cousins, they say, oh, that's my favorite auntie. All my friends, oh man, your mom's so cool. You know, just real humble, sweet, nurturing. I mean, just everything I love about my mama, I see in you. But that's a reflection of the evolution in me. And now, not to take away from anybody else I've ever been with, but there were parts of our get down, our states of being, that I was attracted to the negative aspects in them subconsciously. I mean, they're all beautiful and they all represented aspects of my mother, but they all held and had a major component that was negative, a negative aspect of my mother that I was subconsciously attached to. Because I don't know if everybody's aware, but the first person that, the people that we're attracted to, 99.9% of the time represent our opposite parent. And so that's the reason why it's important to have both parents in the home. That's important. Or at least have solid relationships with both parents. Because that opposite parent, that's 9 times out of 10 who we reference as what are the standard of the type of individuals we'll be attracted to, because that's our first love. So my first love was my mama. My daughter's first love was me. You know, let's see. What are you referring to? What book? Tamara asked the books. The Master Yao's books. So, Awakening the Divine, Awakening the Master Feminine, Awakening the Master Masculine, the Amanra Project as well. And then there's another, the fourth book is The Holy Grail of Orgasm. Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But, like, if there was ever a way, I read that book. Let's see, Tamara asked Divine Feminine. Yeah, have you read the Awakening the Master Feminine by Master Yao?
That's the book you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's called, I'll post the links in the, as a matter of fact, if you go into the bio, in my bio, the links, click on that bio link, and then it'll have a whole book list of every book that we were talking about, that I'm referring to. That's like my my Tantra Bibles, if you so to speak. No, not yet, but we'll do. Yes. And so what transpired over time was that when I look back at where I was mentally, emotionally, physically, in my state of being, at each age, every woman that I had dealt with was there to show me something to help elevate me to the point where I am today. And so, and we had beautiful relationships. We had our ups and downs, young, and went through some things, and, we all evolved, at our own, in our own ways. And they all taught me lessons about myself that helped me get to the point where I could be open to the whole Tantra lifestyle, the whole spirituality aspect, that I could evolve into and tap into my godlike nature, because I had heard of stuff in the past. And a lot of times, we hear things, but we're not ready for it. And so at that point, at my lowest point, when I got reintroduced into, have you looked into Tantra? It was like, let me really like visit that. And then I started to take in, and lo and behold, once you open yourself up to any specific thing, like your dominating thoughts, the universe will move heaven and earth to align with whatever your innermost desire is to make that happen. It will absolutely do that. And that's if you don't take nothing else from today's talk, the power of your mind and to really lock in whatever it is you lock in on, your dominating thoughts, because you have to reprogram that 95% of us that exist on autopilot. You have to tap into that Haru energy, that solar plexus energy, and that gut, that today's energy, that gold yellow energy, and embrace, that essence to move and really make change. Because you have to, it's like in alchemy, you have to, in order to change who and what you are, you have to tap into, it's got to be a spiritual thing. So that's what I was getting at with regard to my past detox. I've done my detoxes. You see me go up and down, up and down. And then 2 years ago during COVID, I looked at myself, I was 207 pounds. I'm like, good Lord, look at all the man tits and gut and just looking like the big bad wolf and just yeah. Who's that? The bear from not Mowgli or whatever the bear was in the thing from that old cartoon. Yeah, this chubby wubber. Hair, losing my hair and stuff. My hairline was going loose, disappearing in the front. And the difference this time, and as you can see, 2 years later, I'm still going strong, without a hitch, was the fact that I embraced the spiritual component this time around. Mm-hmm. I really went deep on the meditation. I really was a mind, body, and soul experience in my detox. And that's what made the changes permanent, because it became a way of life for me, a way of being. I changed on an energetic level, not just a physical level. And so one of the things that when we're talking about Tantra, and that's a Tantra, that's a base Tantric 101, is that we have 4 bodies. We have the etheric body, which is the one that ties us into the Most High. Then we have the light body, the energy body, and then the cell body, which is what you see. And so when we're talking about raising our vibrations, what that really entails is the ability to tap into and function in our higher vibrational levels in these bodies, and our ability to communicate from the etheric body on down, our ability to communicate with the light body on down, the ability for everything to, for our whole state of being to function in our higher selves. Because for the most part, the typical person, the way we're trained in society is that this is it. We have a soul inside of us, that's the extent of our spirituality, basically. And, everything's physical, but we're electric beings. We are energy. And so, because like when you people look at the work I do, or the work we do in the Tantra space, or any energy practice, Reiki and whatnot, it's like, well, how does that work? How does a person concentrate and raise their vibration, and in fact, and then affect positive change on somebody else? And that's a state of being able to tap into those higher light bodies, that light body, that energy body, and tap into that etheric realm. And that's through training, or actually basically that's through activation, because we're all able to do it. It's just that we're trained or taught not to. We're not even taught that this stuff even exists. How to, and so when we come as, we're born into this earth, into this spiritual plane, we as our babies, they do all this stuff naturally, but through shame, through being shut down, through being dumbed down through the TV and dumbed down through, so-called societal norms. Now, all that stuff by the time, they hit puberty, when this stuff is supposed to actually really kick in and they're really supposed to grow into that space, it's shut down. Master Yao has a concept called the, second puberty. And the reason why he talks about the second puberty is because most people don't fully develop during puberty. And so as adults, when you go into the tantric space, the grand tantric space, we go into the creating and recreating and opening up those portals, those energy portals that we're able to go through a full development in a second puberty, adult puberty stage. Yeah, and so we go into an adult puberty stage. Let's see, Tamara says, I believe in the sacred blood of Jesus Christ. I admire you all, but I think energy is so powerful and true. I must be cautious. Okay, no, absolutely.
Always.
The highest vibrational energy, Tamara says, the highest vibrational energy is in Christ and the healer. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Tamara, just please know. Yeah, like I come from the whole foundation and basis of where we come from is in Christianity. Both my grandfathers were reverends, and the Christ. When we talk about Jesus and Christ and whatnot, the Christ mindset, the energy of Christ, the embodiment of what Christ was all about. That's where we're pulling from. That Christ, if you really want to go into ancient times, Christ, K-R-S-T, Christ, it's a state of being, a state of functioning in our highest connection to the Most High. And so that being said, when we're talking about just religions in general, I don't knock anybody for whatever way that they attach to the Most High. And this isn't about that. What we're dealing with is but I will say, the only thing that, I'm actually glad you mentioned that. The only thing I have a challenge with when it comes to religions is anybody that looks at God being something outside of who we are. When we go into the Bible itself, there's several passages that, in the words of Christ, he says, you can do everything that I can do and more. I'm butchering that. I'm not like saying it word for word, but the gist of it is, I'm in you. We're one. We're connected. And so so the number one thing when we're talking about Tantra itself is that connection to the Most High, that direct connection to the Most High. There's no, I have to look outside of who I am to be who I need to be, my God self.
Right. And even it says ye are gods.
Yes, it says that ye are gods. And so, absolutely. And I appreciate you so much for bringing that out, because you got a lot of folks that they get into the mindset that somehow God isn't in us. We're not. We don't. Like it's something
external.
External, out of this world. And like, no, that was the big lie that was told, that God isn't us. We're not. Yeah, we are connected. There's a direct connection. We're made in the likeness and image of the Most High.
At your highest vibration.
Yes. And so, but a lot of us are stuck in our lower nature, that we think that God is something outside of who we are. We don't have that direct connect. We have to go through somebody to have that connection with the Most High. And that's totally not true. Yeah, because I look at, once I came into the knowing and the understanding of that, at that point, was able to do some pretty incredible things. Yes, and able to tap into, that higher nature of state of being, that godlike nature that really pushed, that allows the healing to come through, that allows the ability to affect positive change on those around me, allows me to raise that vibration to a point where, where I can be a vessel, in the community and to those that I come in contact with, those that we come in contact with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when you raise your vibration, those that are around you raise they grow right along with you. I can't tell that you're connected to God. That's how I can. I can tell that you're connected to God. Oh, Felicia says I can tell that you're connected to God. That's how I can, be at peace and listen. Oh, yes, absolutely. I appreciate you. All praises. Yes, no, absolutely. Because this is our ministry. This is what our life's purpose was. And the Most High has a way of, literally knocking you over the head to slow you down enough so that you can tap into whatever it is that, you were brought to this planet to do. And so our job on this planet is to help others, bring them to a position where they can live their highest and best lives. What's up, love?
Exactly. And even coming to the subject of Tantra, that is a modality, a healing modality.
Yes, it's a healing modality. Yes. Absolutely. Yes, and so
I'm learning. I've learned that.
Yes.
Since knowing you.
Yeah, and it's one of the most powerful healing modalities. Actually, I dare say it's the most powerful healing modality that I've dealt with and encountered. And I've studied and trained in. I can go down a whole list. It'll fill up a whole pages of what I've studied over the years. And Tantra by far was the number one, because a lot of what exists or how Tantra flows and functions is the other modalities are pieces of that. Yes. And so when we talk about the sexual energy in Tantra, the ability to harness that and then sublimate that energy, sublimate meaning we make the energy, transmute the energy so that it flows up our central channel into charging up our chakras and opening our chakras, moving up to that third eye, to that crown, and then connects us to, the Most High. And when we're talking about enlightenment, so there's different paths. There are a gazillion different paths to enlightenment. The yogic path, the Taoist path, the Buddhist path. I mean, you name it. There's so many different ways depending on what region of the planet you're tied to and what you have an affinity towards. And so, we do yoga. As a matter of fact, we're training to become yoga instructors. We do, so many different types of disciplines. The mantras, the deep meditations and stuff like that. That's all a part of our connecting and growing. But when you really look at it, Tantra encompasses all of that. And so the other parts are like aspects of it that help enhance it. And so, we actually kind of went in a little bit deeper in a way that I hadn't anticipated, but I think it was good. Yeah, it was a good intro. Yeah.
Oh, that was just the intro?
Yeah, it was just the intro.
It's so much more? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Honestly, there's so many aspects to Tantra. We could literally do a Tantra show every day and still not run out of subject matter. Yeah, like literally. I mean, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of being. Like I said, Tantra is something that's innate in all of us. It's not something that we do. It's something that you activate. It's the most natural version of who we are and the way that we flow in the world. The thing is, because of society, because of lack of knowledge or ignorance, it's not something that's openly taught or even understood. And the way that it was originally brought here to the United States in Western society, Tantra was thought of as just a sex thing. And that's just a microcosm of what Tantra is all about.
Right.
Yeah, because it's one of probably the most profound benefits that you'll see. Because, in Western society, we're so dumbed down and locked into, some perverted version of everything. And there's such a limited understanding in society as a whole. Anything above and beyond, some kind of physical act. But when we're talking about like healing and like what do you call that? Breaking genetic curses, multi-generational curses or epigenetic issues and stuff like that that have been passed down. When we're talking about just really doing like some deep healing. When I look at, just and doing the different modalities, that sexual energy and harnessing that, nothing does a better job and a more profound job at healing past trauma than Tantra. In addition to that, we're talking about, and then we can even tap into on the physical side, like any kind of uterine issues. I mean, any kind of issue in the body can be used, Tantra can be used to help enhance and heal any part of the body, any part of our state of being, especially when you start to look at when you're connecting with the energy bodies and fixing things and repairing things in those areas. Now it affects positive change on the cell body. Mm-hmm. And so we'll get into all of that because it's just, there's a whole lot.
Sounds
good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I do recommend, if anybody has, a deeper interest in it, check out any of the books by Master Yao, Awakening the Master Masculine, Awakening the Master Feminine, Aman-Ra. That's a good overall book to start with, because that gives an overview of the whole tantric experience, and then the two awakening books those break down how to live in your divine masculine, divine feminine, how to really function and flow to become a complete highest best version of a woman, a highest and best version of a man, and how to be the highest and best versions for each other. Because how we relate in the world is, when we talk about just quality of life, that is, key. There's a lot of times people be asking, it's like, oh, wow, y'all look like y'all been together for years. Y'all, so loving and, connected and this and that. That's Tantra. This is what a tantric relationship looks like. This is what a tantric state of being looks and feels like. Mm-hmm. So it feels like, oh yeah, it feels just like this, like that. It feels like that. Yeah, it feels like that. And so, and had it not been for my understanding of that, back in 2014, I would never have been prepared to be able to receive and appreciate Ariane for who she is. We would not have this relationship. I would have figured that my counterfeit persona would have kicked in and I would have blew this thing up the first sign that something looked or triggered me. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It says, let's see. Felicia says, I could tell that you connect. Oh, I got that one. Corrine Washington, I just shared. Let's see. What is your, Christina Lewis says, what is your view on low vibrating energy? Would that be considered your shadow? The shadows keep us in our low vibration, Christina. Yeah, the shadows are what keep us there. The shadows, well, let me stand corrected. Yes, they do. The shadows aren't necessarily a bad thing because we never actually get rid of our shadows. The thing is, we come into an understanding or knowing of our shadows. These shadows, like say for instance, like my shadow, one of my shadows was, and once you understand, like shadows came into existence because they were like coping mechanisms or defense mechanisms for some bad thing that happened to us or some traumatic challenge that we had back in the day. And so our bodies they steer clear of pain. And so we create like these walls. Like say for instance, I had a wall around my heart because of all the heartache that I dealt with over the years. And so when you have when you don't even realize, 'cause most people don't even realize the shadows even exist. And these are false versions of ourselves. These are protective shields that we put around us so that we can cope, so we don't feel that pain again. And so the thing is, when we talk about like counterfeit personalities, we've acted and been that way so long that we don't even know that that's not even us. That's not even our natural way of being. And so once you recognize the shadow, like say for instance, I have my counterfeit personality is anal. And my default in that is I have to win at all costs, no matter what. And so once I recognize that's, and it serves its purpose in certain situations, like, sports and whatnot. Oh yeah, I kick ass on the field. That's on. Oh, we do martial arts. I will whoop some ass in the ring all day long. I will channel that anal to the nth degree. Charge up and go take off and light somebody up in the ring. I love it. I enjoy it. Yes, winning matters then when I'm hosting up that trophy. Now, we have a disagreement or a misunderstanding, or we're not in alignment on the subject. The old me, I be going in verbally just, because I gotta win. I don't need to win in our relationship. We on the same team. What am I? Why do I need to beat her? But the old me, that shadow me, she says something that they not rub me necessarily the right way. I gotta have the last word. See, that's the shadow. Now, how does that vibrate in our relationship? It don't. It keeps our vibration operating at a low level. And so the shadows are not understanding the shadows and not using them because they served us our purpose for us at some point in time. And so the shadows aren't necessarily a bad thing. It's just the way or where they're applied at, where they come. But shadows are typically born created out of a position of lack. And so now when you're operating in an abundance model, an abundance mindset, in your higher godlike nature and tapping into and functioning in that, agape state of love, there is no lack in that. And so when you're tapping into the shadow, now it becomes a tool to help you accomplish whatever it is you need to accomplish. And so it's recognizing the shadows, knowing that the shadow is there, and then using that shadow for the benefit of not only yourself, but those that are around you. And so, yes, when it comes to low vibrating energy, unrecognized shadows they will keep you operating in a state of lack, in a state of low vibration. But because you have to recognize when something comes up. And so now that I know that, okay, that's a part of me, now I can adjust and deal with it accordingly when it comes up.
It's a test.
Yes. Felicia says, please link the books in the chat. I'm going to check my ebooks. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'll put the link. I'll post the link right afterwards. It's no problem. As a matter of fact, it's actually in my bio on Facebook and in IG, but I also post it here. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. I can tell. Let's see. Are there any more questions before we conclude for today? Boom, boom, boom. Sarah says, Tantra activation, yes. Sexual energy, yes, yes, yes. Let's see, we good on,
Oh, it split the, camera.
oh shoot. Hey, where'd y'all go? No.
It
I
was
did
somewhere
something
down on
weird.
the
Okay.
left.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So yeah,
Surface.
I think we're good.
Yes.
All right.
And
Well,
the affirmation for the day. Tuesday is get it done and everything. And we spoke on that a little bit. And I'm just going to read off today's affirmation. And then we'll. Well, I mean, you just was going. You was on it. You were on it. Okay.
We gotta have your affirmation, baby.
Okay. All
Got
right.
to
Okay.
have
I'm
your
gonna get
affirmation,
to it. Yes.
baby.
I earn money. And this affirmation, just as we did yesterday, it is a reflective and response. So this is what we're calling onto our lives today. Right. So I say the parts and then you respond.
Yes, call and response. I respond.
Yes.
What you got, baby?
I earn money.
I earn money.
I earn money with ease.
I earn money with ease.
With delight.
With delight.
By doing what it is I'm passionate about.
What it is I'm passionate about.
Okay.
Yes. I feel that.
Okay.
Yes.
And I am constantly getting better at what I do.
And I am constantly getting better at what I do.
Yes. And that last part is what really stuck with me is I'm constantly getting better at what I do. Absolutely. It's all about progress.
Let's run it back real smooth.
I earn money.
I earn money.
With ease.
With ease.
I'll even put another word in, with happiness.
With happiness.
By doing. What I am passionate about.
What I am passionate about.
And I'm constantly.
And I am constantly.
Getting better.
Getting better.
Being better.
Being better.
At what I do.
At what I do.
Yes.
Yes.
That's just breathe on that one. Accept it.
Yeah, prosperity.
Yes.
Bring it.
And you were saying about prosperity?
No, prosperity today says, I appreciate you both. No, blessings. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
For joining us today. We appreciate your positive energy and being and sharing the space. Thank you so much. Thank you. Felicia says, love today's affirmation. I receive blessings. Yes. All right. Well, Tuesday. What's the energy for today? That Mars energy. That means get it done.
Yes.
Get busy. Tap into that Haru energy. That's that solar plexus. That's that gold, that yellow solar plexus energy. Tap into that. Get it. Be great. Because understand, the energy that you put into, the effort that you put into whatever it is that you're doing today, the universe supports that. Today, more than any other day, the universe supports that, and you'll be rewarded for that to the degree that you put it down today. Thursday, you'll see the fruits of your labor. So if there's ever a day that you're gonna put in some overtime, put it in the day.
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely. So as a matter of fact, it's time for us to get to work too. We love you all. Peace and blessings.
Peace.